So Donald Trump is going off on MAGAs, his own base. Donald Trump, I think he has had enough from what MAGAs are pushing at. You know, MAGAs deserve evidence. MAGAs deserve to see those Epstein files.
Y'all, breaking news. So Syphilitic Sid has just said that he doesn't need his supporters anymore. Hold on while I read this quote word for word, y'all. He says, and I quote, "My past supporters have bought into this bullshit hook, line, and sinker. Let these weaklings continue forward and do the Democrats' work. Don't even think about talking of our incredible and unprecedented success. I don't want their support anymore." Y'all remember when he said, "This will be y'all last time voting. Y'all ain't got to worry about it"? He was just looking for a reason. He was looking for a reason. Anywho, MAGA, how y'all feel? He said he don't need y'all anymore. Last week, y'all was out here burning hats and shit. Now, y'all dear leader, your one and only true love, y'all Lord and Savior, higher than Jesus Christ, done said he don't need y'all support. He don't give a fuck. Y'all bought into that bullshit. Ooh, crumbs. Anywho, y'all bought into that bullshit. That's what he said. Literally, he went on the record and said that. What y'all finna do? There are people out here literally losing their jobs, losing their health care because of you. And this mother said, he don't need your support. He don't want y'all support. And y'all is dumb. Y'all is not smart. And y'all is not important.
MAGA deserve the real truth. You know, it has reached a point where I think many of the MAGAs have actually woken up, you know, or the woke syndrome, if I may say, and they are demanding the truth. So there's an article where it says from MCBSN that say Trump goes off on his own MAGA base. You know, he said, I don't want any of their support anymore. So Trump felt like if it's all criticism, if they are pushing to release of the Epstein files, then I think he doesn't need them anymore. And from this point, we all see that the Trump ghost, you know, the ghost of the past, Trump's dark past, has actually come to haunt him. So the article read, Trump outburst against MAGA supporters. So Trump lashed out on his own MAGA base for criticizing his administration handling of the Jeffrey Epstein's file. He called the controversy a hoax, and he said he no longer wants support from those who believed in it. He accused former supporter of being duped by the lunatic left. So, as we're watching one of the videos where actually, you know, the speaker was saying, if he acknowledged that there were Epstein, if there are hundreds of women, you know, who comes out to actually, you know, air their frustrations, you know.
Jeffrey Epstein matter is a hoax. Last week, his Justice Department said there were more than 1,000 victims of Jeffrey Epstein. Last summer, Trump said he was open to declassifying all the relevant files and the Epstein client list, and that his suicide looks suspicious. How can all those things be true and it be a hoax? I don't understand where things stand with all this.
I think the time has come for the administration to release all of the files regarding Jeffrey Epstein's investigation and prosecution. It's important that we protect the names of the victims. They should be excluded from any disclosure. But whether or not the facts justify charges, I think that that anyone who participated or was associated with this despicable man ought to be held up to public scrutiny.
There's a person, Maxwell, serving jail time, then how is this hoax? Because this is one of the person that doesn't deserve to be trusted. So on Truth Social rant, Trump posted on Truth Social expressing anger that the Epstein issue continues to dominate on headlines. He blamed his supporters for giving Democrats reason to celebrate, and they said they should stop talking about his administration. They should stop talking about his administration's successes. So Trump feels like, the same way he said, is the Biden, is the Democrats who actually, came out to the Epstein, who made Epstein. Trump's even believe that, the MAGA supporters are actually buying into Democrats' propaganda, and they want to crumple his administration.
Mr. President, I know you want to move past all this intrigue over the Epstein files, but I do want to ask you to clarify something you said this morning. You said this was all a hoax. Has your Attorney General told you this was a hoax? What evidence have you seen of that?
No, it's not the Attorney General, no. I know it's a hoax. It's started by Democrats. It's been run by the Democrats for 4 years. You had Christopher Wray and these characters and Comey before him. And it's a bad group. It started, actually, look at the Steele dossier that turned out to be a total hoax. The 51 agents, the intelligence, so-called intelligence agents, it was a hoax. It's all been a big hoax. It's perpetrated by the Democrats. And some stupid Republicans and foolish Republicans fall into the net. And so they try and do the Democrats' work. The Democrats are good for nothing other than these hoaxes. They're bad for policy. They're bad for picking candidates that can get elected. Like in New York, we have a communist running. He may get elected too, actually, but he'll destroy the city. No, it's I call it the Epstein hoax. It takes a lot of time and effort. Instead of talking about the great achievements, we've had a great gentleman. Yesterday, as you know, went on CNBC and he made the statement that Trump may go down as the greatest president of all in the United States. And instead of talking about the things we've achieved,
and we really see it's like Trump is really failing on everything. The case of Russia. So here is the Epstein controversial. The interest in the Epstein file was partly fueled by Trump's own team. Yeah, because they called those MAGA influencers, they called those people like Joe Rogan, and given them handouts to actually, publicize that the Epstein file, This is the mess that actually, Trump created, the MAGA created. Why would Trump wants to defend Pam Bondi, Despite the backlash, Trump is defending defended Pam Bondi, calling her performance fantastic. I think it's fantastic, covering the truth. He urged his old followers to stop attacking her and emphasize unity within MAGA movement. Donald Trump, for information, MAGA is burning down. MAGA is burning down, and it's not backing anytime soon. So it's upon you to actually, in order to solve all these problems, you need to actually, give out the files. So Donald Trump, former manager of casino manager, he revealed that Donald Trump, he often came with actually teen girls in the casinos. He often came with them in the casinos or casino floor.
Off, it's laughable that it wasn't a good friendship, if not his best friend during those days. I mean, he frequently came down to Atlantic City, the two of them, to attend special events. I heard reference in several conversations, and in one conversation where I had to specifically talk to him about Epstein and his presence in the casino. So it was, it was, in my mind, it was his best friend. From really the time I was there for 4 years. His name was, not constant, but it came up quite a bit.
Donald Trump frequently visited casinos with Jeffrey Epstein during the late 1980s. So Epstein was a close associate and the best friend of Trump during his tenure in the casino. O'Donnell recounted a specific incident where Trump and Epstein arrived at the casino around 1:30 a.m. with 3 women. Said casino commission inspector believed the women were underage.
Incident that I think kind of, proves their closeness and how much they hung out together. One time, a Monday morning, I came in and the commission was waiting. The inspectors were waiting in my office. And Donald and Jeffrey had come into the casino in the wee hours of Sunday morning, 1:30 in the morning. 2 buddies. They had 3 women with them, and the commission was waiting for me because they had determined that the women that they brought down were underage to be on the casino. And when I asked them how they knew that, by the way, one of them was the number 3 ranked tennis player in the world, okay? And this guy happened to be a tennis fan, and he said, "Jack, I know she's 19 years old."
So, Trump bring underage girls, 3 women, with Jeffrey Epstein in where? In the casino. And we'll know there's inspector, and there's certain age that he expect that ladies or women who happen to go to the casino, they've reached a certain age. So the casino inspector once confronted, Jack O'Donnell on the same case about why will he allow, underage women to the casino. Trump once praised Epstein in 2002 interview, noting his interest in beautiful women on the younger side. So, and we also say birds of the same feathers flew together. Then, after Epstein arrest in 2019, Trump, distanced himself. 15 years later, he says, "What? I was not a fan." But here are the timeline of Donald Trump and who? Jeffrey Epstein. In the late 80s, Trump and Epstein frequently visited Trump Plaza Hotel and casino together. Jack O'Donnell, then president of the casino, described Epstein as Trump's best friend. That's one instance. In the late 1980s, Trump and Epstein arrived at the casino around 1:30 a.m. with 3 women. State inspector believed they were underage and confronted the casino president. In 2002, in New York Magazine, Donald Trump said, "I've known Jeff for 15 years. He's a lot of fun to be with. He likes beautiful women on the younger side." Between 2002 and 2004 and 2005, their friendship were reported ended. Trump later claimed to had a falling with Epstein. I think this is where now Trump, got the idea or get to know that, Epstein had, Epstein had a blackmail list. So after learning that Epstein had a list, in 2019, after Epstein's arrest, Trump said, I think I've spoken to him for over 15 years. I wasn't a fan. He wasn't a fan. In previous, you say what? Your best friend. Later, you say what? You're not a fan. 2024-2025, Trump reportedly frustrated that his supporters continue to focus on Epstein despite DOJ declaring the case closed. But Ooh, you overhyped. Another hoax or another, red flag around all this, issue. Trump has fired an attorney general who prosecuted Jeffrey Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell.
A few moments ago, Barry, before you and I were speaking, just before the show came to air, the federal prosecutor for Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell, Maureen Comey, all right, that's her name. Does the name sound familiar? It should, because she happens to be the daughter of the former FBI Director James Comey. Okay, so she was just fired. All right, she was just fired. She is James Comey's daughter. She was the one looking at this case. Let's just take politics out of it, because I know there'll be politics all over this one, right? It'll be flies over a carcass. But you're very familiar with her work. What do you make of her firing?
It is another situation here in this week of absolutely horrible things that have come out of Trump in terms of this firing that's taken place. She was such an advocate for the victims of sexual abuse. She took part in the successful prosecution of Ghislaine Maxwell. She was on the team for the Jeffrey Epstein prosecution in 2019. Just an excellent part of that team in New York and the Southern District. And for this to go down, the circumstances, they're too similar as to what he said about her father, and then you have this result. So it looks to me like it is just she was knocked down because of her dad, and it's sad.
Trump goes ahead and he think that Americans, or people are actually dumb enough to not get the whole plan or the whole flow. Trump has just fired a prosecutor who actually, prosecuted Epstein and prosecuted Ghislaine Maxwell. Who is this? Maureen Comey. So a federal prosecutor involved in high-profile cases against Jeffrey Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell was fired by U.S. Attorney's Office for the Southern District of New York. And when you go ahead and ask a reason for dismissal, it was not closed and disclosed, and it is not very clear. And, to add the nail, to that wound, Maureen, or the fire to that fire, burning flame, Maureen is the daughter of former FBI Director James Comey, who was also fired by Donald Trump during his first term in office. Then I think it's like a recurring pattern, Trump, is trying to actually push people that he feel they are not of his inner circle. That is what is happening. Then, he's firing. People want him to fire the DOG. By Miss Pam Bondi. But Trump goes ahead and fire, another person who thinks, I think he will spill the bill. He or she will spill, it's called spilling the beans. So the ghosts of the past, Trump ghosts, are actually coming back to haunt him.
The way the Trump administration has handled the Epstein files just confirms my long-held belief that the right always tells on itself by accusing the left of the things they know their party has a problem with. For years, they've been telling their base that the entire Democratic Party is made up of groomers and child predators, but now they're just starting to realize they may have put one in the White House. This theory goes far beyond the Epstein files. The right has tried to justify their bathroom bills because we need to protect women and children from radical leftist trans ideologies. Well, just this week in my community, it was actually an ICE agent who was arrested after hanging out in a women's restroom with little girls holding his service weapon. They say that we're the elitist party that doesn't care about working people, while they're the ones passing tariff and tax policies that will actually be the largest transfer of wealth from working class families to billionaires in American history. They claim that we're anti-Semitic because we don't support the genocide of Palestinian people, but last week Donald Trump got on stage and threw out an anti-Semitic slur so old it was common during World War II. I'm telling you, I genuinely believe this theory might be universal, and we should always do some digging based on the accusations they're throwing around, because it seems like the call is always coming from inside the house.